Okay, class, here is the Raptor file, which is the visual representation of the algorithm for the problem that we were looking at. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the following data from a text file. In Raptor, there really isn't an easy way to bring this data in, so I'm just setting them as an assignment right now. So we have an assignment for the first name variable set to Giselle, a variable for the last name, and it's going to be set to Robinson, a variable for department set to accounting, a variable for gross salary, and that's going to be set to 5,600, variable for bonus, and it's going to be set to 5, a variable for tax rate, and it's going to be set to 30. Now what we're looking at here, this is the variable that's going to calculate the paycheck. So the paycheck is going to take the gross salary times 1 plus the bonus, and then divide that by 100. We're going to take that times 1 minus the tax rate and divide that by 100. So you get the true percentages and to calculate that tax or that paycheck. Next, we have the variable that's going to be set to hold the distance traveled, which is the 450. And again, that's line 3 of the text file. Travel time is going to be set to 9, and that represents the second variable in the text file. Then we're going to calculate the average speed. So the average speed is going to take the distance traveled divided by the travel time. Next is the variable that's going to hold the 75 for the number of coffee cups sold, and that represents line number 4, variable number 1. And then the second one represents the price per cup, which is 1.5, which actually represents $1.50. So that's what that variable is going to represent. Then we have the calculation of the total sales. Total sales is going to take the number of coffee cups times the times the price per cup. So that's what that variable is holding. Then we have our outputs. All right, our outputs are based on the outputs that the user wants, and the user wants specific output. They want it to look a specific way. So they want a label that says name, then the output of the first name, the output of the second name with a space in between, a comma after the last name, with a space in between the label for the word department with a colon, and then the output of the variable department. So that's what this output symbol represents. And as you can see, inside quotes, I have the label for name with the colon, and the double quotes represent that's everything that's in that label. Then I use the plus symbol to concatenate, output the variable first name, again, the plus symbol to concatenate, and then I got open quote, space, close quote to represent the space between the first name and the last name. Next is the plus symbol to concatenate the variable last name, so I can output that last name. Then I have the plus symbol again to concatenate, and then I have an open quote, comma, space, department, colon, space, close quote to represent everything that's going to go in that label. Then this plus symbol represents concatenation, and then this is the output of the department. And that's how we're going to set up each of these outputs. All right, next comes the output of the paycheck. The output of the paycheck is going to be the word paycheck with a colon and a dollar sign, and then the variable that holds the paycheck. So that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at a string of text, which is the word paycheck, colon, space, dollar sign, concatenate with the plus, output the variable that represents the paycheck. And then I did an extra line to represent the line in between these two items right here. And I see here that I actually forgot one. And that is going to go after distance traveled, average speed. All right, so we've got the paycheck, and then we're going to output it And then I need another one after average speed. And I'm going to edit this, and then I'm just going to put a space in here to represent that extra line. So we get the output the way that they want it. All right, so it's that simple. So next comes the output for the distance traveled. So we've got the label for the distance traveled with the colon and the space. Concatenates the variable that holds the distance traveled. Concatenates string of text, open quotes. There's a space right here to represent that space, so we don't want to have it all butted up against. Then we've got miles, comma, traveling time, colon, space. Concatenate travel time. Concatenate hours. Then we've got the average speed, then the space, and then the output of the number of coffee cups sold, price per cup, and then the sales. So when I run this, it's going to process everything, and my output is going to look exactly like the outputs that the user is requesting, minus the extra zeros that Raptor likes to put in for us. All right, so that is the graphical representation of the algorithm. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go straight to the C++ programming.